So Bryce James just made the same mistake Bronny James did. Bryce James just made a huge mistake, lads. And it's going to be different with Bryce because unlike Bronny, LeBron's not going to be playing in the NBA to get Bryce into the NBA. That's the reality of the situation. And it is what it is. Before we get on to that, though, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. Right now, we're at like 8,591. If we could get to 8,600 by the end of the day, that'd be incredible. But in the last hour, Bryce James has committed to Arizona. He is committed to Arizona. Bryce James is not a division... At this point in time, Bryce James is not a Division I college basketball player. Bryce James... Bronny makes Bronny James look like Cooper Flagg as far as like prospects are concerned. Bryce James is a 6'4" center, power forward at a push, but he plays like a stretch five. And by the way, he might not even be 6'4". Like Bronny James, when Bronny was listed as 6'3", he was listed 6'4". They measured Bronny and him were listed around the same height. Bronny's now 6'1". Bryce James is about 6'3". And it says here 6'4" shooting guard. He is not a shooting guard. 4-star prospect out of Scarra County. He is a 4-star prospect because his name is Bryce James. Don't get it twisted. He's ranked as 30th overall prospect in California. If his name was not Bryce James, and I mean this, no one would know who he is. Like, I'm being serious. Like, I think even if Bronny James' name was not Bronny James, he's still at a mid-major. Like, he's still, like, Bronny was good. Bronny was, like, one of the better players for Sierra Canyon. Bryce doesn't... I don't even think Bryce starts. I don't even think Bryce starts for his high school team. He didn't last year. Like, I don't know if he's played at all this year. But, like, he averaged, like, 6 points a game in AAU during the summer. Like, Bryce is not good. And this is the problem, is, like, just go to Duquesne. I was, like, genuinely, don't make the same mistake Bronny did by going to a college where you're not good enough for it. Bronny was not good enough to go to USC. Or at least be a one and done at USC. Maybe if he had gone the 4 years, he could have been okay at USC. But, like, the problem is Bryce is never going to play for Arizona. He's never going to play. Like, Arizona's a school that wants to win national titles, and Bryce James is a D2, a best level player, who is the skill set of a center and is 6'3.5" maybe. Like, and he, unlike Bronny, he doesn't have a 40-inch vertical. He doesn't have, like, Bronny can't dribble the ball at the NBA level. Like, but at least Bronny, I think, can kind of dribble the ball at the college level. Bryce struggles dribbling the ball at the high school level. Like, Bronny was a good high school player. Like, he made the McDonald's All-American game and held his own. I don't even think Bryce is a good high school player. And this is the problem, is that, like, Bryce is genuinely, like, a D2 guy. Maybe D3 guy. Maybe. But he could, like, if Bryce went to a D2 school, he could have been I said this, if Bryce goes to a D2 school, Bryce has a good 4-year career. If Bryce goes to a mid-major, he might have a okay 4-year career. If Bryce, and I said this when at the time when Bryce was visiting Arizona, if Bryce goes to Arizona or one of these top schools, then he is conceded he will never play another meaningful minute of basketball in his career. Just like I believe Bronny has conceded. And by the way, I think Bronny's been pretty decent in the G League. Like, he's clearly not an NBA player. Like, he is struggling running the one at the G League. And he is chucking. His points look good if you're looking at box scores, but he is literally chucking dumb shit. Like again, Bronny James is La Plata level. Like, he is like 3rd tier in Spain level as an import. But again, like, Bronny's, at this point down, Bronny's still a good pro. Bronny's a guy that if his name wasn't Bronny James would still be playing pro overseas. And Bryce is so much worse. Like, it's not even close. And like, he has just made the biggest mistake of his life. Bryce James is not only not going to be an NBA player, and I think most people probably conceded, like, if you've ever watched Bryce James, you know he's not an NBA player. He's not. Or like, and the thing is like you don't get to develop if you're just being at this ridiculous level. Like, we've never heard of a guy who was not good in high school go to an Arizona and suddenly like make it into the NBA. Anytime there's any player that's like been at Bryce James level that's made the NBA has been kind of unrecruited, under-recruited, gone to like a smaller school, maybe transferred to a bigger school after a year and been a 4-year guy. Bryce James is not going to play. He is literally there for Arizona so they can make money off his jersey sales. That's the only reason he's there. The only reason Arizona offered him a scholarship is because his name is Bryce James. The only reason Duquesne offered him a scholarship. Like, Duquesne is the highest level. I was like, if he goes to Duquesne, if I was him, I wouldn't. I was like, he's not going to really do anything at Duquesne. And I was like, I don't even know if he gets off the bench as a freshman. But Arizona's so much higher level. And he is so not good at basketball. At that level. I mean, at that level. Like, yes, like Bryce James. Yeah, I'll give it. Bryce James could have cooked me in his prime. Or in my prime. Like, I mean that. But, like, maybe not. Like, maybe Bryce at this age, I don't know how badly Bryce James at 17 would have beaten me at 19. And I was probably a D3 guy. Like, Bryce James is a 6'4", 6'3", 6'4" guy with power forward / center skills. He's got no guard skills at all. And he's the height of a point guard without any guard skills. And I'm not talking about the NBA level. I'm talking about at the D1 level. He's got no guard skills. Like, why? Like, we saw how badly Bronny James going to the NBA was for him. LeBron, why are you allowing this happen? You know he's not good enough. You know he's not good enough. Just like you knew Bronny wasn't good enough. And now you've already ruined Bronny's basketball career. Bronny could have stayed 4 years at USC. Look, let's be real. Once Bronny's out of the NBA, he's not going to go play overseas. He's a made man. He's not going to go play overseas. He's just going to chill and not play basketball anymore. You've ruined Bronny James' career. Bronny could have at least went and played 4 years in college and had a good time, like Marcus Jordan did. And now you have allowed your other son to ruin his basketball career too. Bryce James, and I blame the people around Bryce for telling Bryce that he's a D1 guy. Not only is he a D1 guy, he's an Arizona level player. Like, Bryce James. And a lot of people are like, oh, Bronny's not great. Bryce is the real son. No. Bronny's 10 times better than Bryce. And I mean that. Bronny's 10 times better than Bryce James. I don't think Bronny's good enough either, but he's 10 times better than Bryce. Bryce James today has made the decision that for the rest of his life, he's never going to play under a meaningful minute of basketball. And sometimes the truth hurts. You've seen it with so many kids where they just go to the wrong schools. They go to like a high name school because of their name, and it's a disaster. Like we saw it with Seven Woods going to North Carolina. Seven Woods went to UNC because of his height when he was 14. It was not good enough, and he ended up playing in Ireland. Seventh Woods is better than Bronny James or Bryce James. Maybe not better than Bronny, better than Bryce James. And Bryce James went to a college equally as big. And the difference is at least Seventh Woods had some guard skills. Bronny James is the height of a point guard with the skills of a power forward or center. And not a good power forward at that. But anyway, I'll see you guys.